Hi viewers, you are watching World Breaking News. Ukraine conflict. Russia's Vladimir Putin says war unlikely. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said war with neighboring Ukraine is unlikely in an interview for Russian television. Mr. Putin also stressed his support for the recent Minsk ceasefire deal as the best way to stabilize eastern Ukraine. Ukraine says Russian troops have been fighting in Ukraine. Mr. Putin repeated denials that this was the case. Foreign ministers from Ukraine, Russia, France and Germany are meeting in Paris on Tuesday to discuss the ceasefire. On Monday, Ukraine's military said rebel shelling had prevented them from withdrawing heavy weapons from the front line. Ukraine accused the rebels of using artillery fire around the towns of Donetsk and Debaltseve. Monitors from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe (OSCE) also said fighting has continued since the ceasefire. A statement from the mission said a rebel commander at a checkpoint in Donetsk had threatened to kill a monitoring team on Sunday. In his interview, his first extended comments since the ceasefire deal was agreed on February 12, Mr. Putin was asked if there was a real threat of war, given the situation in eastern Ukraine. "I think that such an apocalyptic scenario is unlikely and I hope this will never happen," he said. Mr. Putin said that if the Minsk agreement was implemented, eastern Ukraine would gradually stabilize. Europe is just as interested in that as Russia. No one wants conflict on the edge of Europe, especially armed conflict, he said. This was a confident Vladimir Putin, fielding soft questions on the Ukraine conflict with ease, even smiles. Russia's president said that in his eyes, the way to peace in Ukraine is clear. The deal struck in Minsk has to be implemented. He underlined that the agreement had been backed by the UN Security Council, and that matters to Moscow. He was also keen to point out that it devolves more power to eastern parts of Ukraine, currently controlled by Russian-backed rebels. As for Russia invading Ukraine, President Putin once again shrugged off evidence that he's deployed troops to help the rebels. He said Kiev was claiming that to hide its humiliation at being defeated by former miners and tractor drivers. He was just as scathing on the issue of Crimea, which Russia annexed last year, advising Ukraine's president to concentrate on saving his country's collapsing economy, instead of going to take back that land.